guys, I'm gonna teach you how to do a chapel, and I'm really excited about this. You could do this on canvas. You could also do this on pallet. I just made these pallets from some pieces of wood and little trim, and actually had me and my husband just cut them. But the only reason I made them is because I ran out. I actually love to order these more on Craft Creations, then I don't have to deal with making them. But I'm gonna provide you a stencil, and the reason I'm excited about this one is because you can turn this into a winter chapel or even a spring chapel. So I'm gonna show you step by step, and then I just want you to remember that this could be altered into a spring, a winter, or even a Christmas chapel. Like I recently used, I made it into a Christmas chapel just by putting a wreath on it and adding joy. But since Christmas is almost over, I want you to be able to use this for months to come, including Easter, including all of those things. So I'm gonna provide you a picture of one of the ladies, and I'm just using white with a little bit of turquoise-ish blue to know for sure it's Laguna, Deco Art Laguna, and I'm just painting the background. So you would take your tracer, print it out, and then you can just trace this basic. I just did this with computer paper. Trace this basic thing, and then you can do it with, I actually had pink Sharpie, but so that people could see it, but you could actually do it with black Sharpie. I'd probably recommend doing pink. I did black so that y'all can see, honestly, so that you could see a little better. And then I'm gonna provide a picture, you're probably seeing it right now, of a lady at my paint party who turned the sky a dark gray. So what I love about that is you can literally alter this painting to work for you all year long. So it's like the painting that keeps on giving. It's just the painting that keeps on giving. So you can alter these colors, you can alter the trees, you can alter pretty much anything, but what I'm doing is a winter chapel. Not necessarily a Christmas chapel, but a winter chapel, because it's gonna be something that I'm gonna use over the next few months, and then I'm gonna spruce it up and make me a spring chapel by just adding some flowers up front, grass, no snow, all of that good stuff, and then I can use it for that too. So while I'm doing this, again, just white with not the bluegrass, but the Laguna. While I'm doing this, I just want to take a minute to say, first off, thank you all so much for being in Paint Party headquarters. I am so grateful, and I'm so excited for your businesses. Whether you're just starting out and you're just trying to get the hang of things, or whether you are full on doing paint parties right now. Like I say, you know, we're all on our own timeline. We all have certain things happening in our lives, but I just want you to know that, you know, the whole point of Paint Party headquarters is so that you don't really have to think too much about, like, what am I going to offer next season? What am I going to offer, you know, next month? You know, I need to create all these new things. Guys, if you have been in Paint Party headquarters, you realize, for example, the truck and tree, you only need a couple of good paintings to make a lot of money during a holiday season. For example, all the Simply Blessed, you know, the sunflowers during fall, those pumpkins that I gave y'all access to, which everybody can find them in units. Everything is stored in units in the Facebook group. And then also the truck and tree. I mean, usually what I end up doing is I have about 2 to 3 really great paintings, and then that's all I teach. I just keep teaching those same ones for that season. And then the next season comes along and I'll have a bunch of those, you know, I'll have a couple new designs ready. And then I'll also take some of the designs that did really well. And then that's how you start to just kind of build your thing, because paint parties is all about having a really cute design, but then knowing how to market it. So I want y'all to remember, you know, sometimes you can be in a group like this and you can get overwhelmed because you're just looking at the whole thread. I want you to remember, you know, I'm in coaching groups myself, mentorship groups for online business, things like that. And I have to always know, okay, sometimes I just have to go to where the trainings are. So maybe you're doing that right now and you're just here learning the tutorial, getting the marketing pack, getting the social media hack. That is totally fine. Some people want more of the community, you know, and there's a group that I'm in that I, you know, as much as I love everybody, but I just don't have time to do the community part of it. So don't ever think that, you know, if you're not doing the community part, I'm like, oh my gosh, why isn't she ever on there? No, I want you to be successful. What I want to see you mostly posting is, you know, of course, any questions you have, but then I want to see your awesome paint parties that you're doing because it works, you know, because you're taking the paintings and you're going straight at it and doing it. Another quick little thing, and I'm going to add some kind of with a fork. I'm going to use a fork technique and show y'all how to add some fun stuff here. Another quick thing too, I'll go ahead and paint the church while I wait for that, is just remember that you have to control your overwhelm. You know, you can get in a group like this and you can totally think, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. So-and-so is already doing parties and I hadn't even started my Facebook business page, you know, whatever it is. And that's all normal, okay? Totally normal. I want you to just be thankful to God, like at whatever stage you're at. You know, there's times when there's gonna be, I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at. There's always times when people are gonna be ahead of you. There's times when people are gonna be behind you. What I can say to y'all is congratulations, because you're definitely ahead of most of the curve because you're actually taking action and getting the information you need and learning. And there's a lot of people out there that, you know, I always say, I'm like, man, I wish there would have been somebody that I could have fast forwarded all of the stuff that gets me stuck, you know, because we can all come up with paintings for a little while, but then we're like, you know, I even hit a dry spell several years ago and I was like, why are they not signing up? And then I really fine-tuned my marketing. I fine-tuned, you know, my paintings. My paintings were, you know, I was sometimes trying to do way too much artsy stuff. I'm just gonna paint the whole thing white. You can do the same. Paint the whole thing white, especially if you can see it, and then you can paint the inside gold or whatever color. But yeah, you have to really start to know, like, fine-tuning. And I think Paint Party Headquarters, that's where you don't really have to think as much because, you know, I'm going to bring you what is currently on trend and the marketing packs that are already ready to go so that you're not having to come up with a ton of images and flyers to, you know, everything. Like if you go to the marketing pack, you can literally like take some of those flyers right away and use them. And then you can also, you know, quickly put them in Canva and just update a couple things. So again, I just want to save you time and money and just be able to quickly make as much money as you want to make during this as you can. So with, you know, we're at the beginning of December. So with January coming up, you know, I have a challenge to myself because January is usually the time when I kind of hibernate. You know, December is a busy month for paint parties. And for those of you that, you know, didn't get on that boat this time, be ready for next year. Be so ready because November 1st through December 20th pretty much is, if you do the right marketing and you do what I'm telling you to do with the way to advertise and the buy sell trades and how to get the restaurants and things like that. If you do those steps, you're going to have some really big parties. And what I want to say to y'all is just, you know, a lot of times in December, you know, you might make more times than I like to admit. We'll have really great Christmases, and then all of a sudden January will hit and I don't have near the parties I had booked in December as I do in January. And so January would start to kind of be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like I just made, you know, a crap load of money and now why do I not have any parties? You know, and I'd kind of freak out. Well, I just want to warn y'all because it is totally natural. I'm actually kind of challenging myself to do a few more parties because I usually take off most of January just because I just go December, and then I try to take off in January and then pick back up at the end of January. But I just want y'all to know, you know, it's not impossible to have parties during January, and I want all of y'all to prove me wrong. I want y'all proving me wrong at your restaurants. I want you proving me wrong, having, you know, your parties, whatever you're doing, and then post them, because, you know, I don't want y'all to, you know, have this awesome Christmas and then all of a sudden nothing. But I also don't want y'all to be unwise and not hold any of those profits from December for January, especially if this is your full-time gig. And those of you that are doing this part-time and you want it for extra Christmas money and you want it for vacation, by all means, spend away. Have fun with it. That's why you're doing it. When I was teaching full-time and doing paint parties, you know, pretty much part-time to full-time, all of my extra money was for vacations and shopping, and it was just so amazing. Now, of course, this is my full-time, so I have to allot most of it to bills. But in the past, when I was just doing it for extra money, I mean, it was so cool because you could just spend it on anything you wanted. So depending on what position you're in, you know, if you already have a full-time job and this is just your side extra money, I say go crazy at Christmas, or save it for a really fun vacation or go on a cool trip. But if this is your full-time gig and this is where you're making your money, don't shoot yourself in the foot. You know, put some back for January, so that way you're not freaking out. And let me go grab a fork, and I'm going to tell you about Valentine's Day paintings. Okay, so I'm out of forks, so I grabbed a plastic knife. It doesn't matter, you can use a fork or a knife. And then I'm going to use some dark brown and just kind of scrape on here, almost like a palette knife. It's really fun. Okay, so I am using some dark chocolate deco art. But you, again, this is where I really tell people at my parties to have a blast. Like, find different colors and go crazy. You know, whatever they want to put on there. And I just really want them to have fun doing it and, you know, be excited. So, you know, say, you know, this is your art table, my art table is your art table tonight. So if you want a different color, if you want a different sky, just feel free to go over there and grab whatever you want to use. And it's just so exciting to see like all the different ones that come up when that happens. I'm also going to be using a 24 karat gold. This is Deco Art Bright Metallic Paint. I adore this paint so much. See how bright it is? I'm going to use that for part of the church. So if I take it and I just dip it into the little bit of browns, I can just kind of scratch it on there, kind of laying it flat. And it just gives it kind of a look. And if I do parts of it I don't like, I can always go back over it. So I'm just dipping into, and it works really good with a fork too. And I'm just kind of scraping it on there. And you can use a palette knife, but here's the thing. You want to have enough for people to use. So depending on how many parties you have, you might not be ready to buy palette knives for everybody, you know, so that might not be in the budget yet. And again, I'm all about you making a profit every party. So using forks and knives and stuff like that and just kind of scraping it on there. And it's actually, when I put it a little bit and I go kind of to the side, it starts to pick up some of that wood grain. Do you see that? Starts to pick some of it up. And then of course, if people are like, oh, I'm just not really sure, I don't love it, all you have to do is say, oh, we'll just take, you know, a little bit of your paint that you had and go right back on it. So if I didn't love, like, you know, this big chunk over here, I might take just a little bit more of my blue and white and go right on top. Voila, all done. And if it doesn't cover all the way, let it dry a few minutes and then go right on top of it. Okay, so we have that, and I'm gonna talk about how I feel about Valentine's paintings. I feel like sometimes next up is the feeling of Valentine's. Okay, so you want to let that dry, and then you're just kind of blobbing this into the windows. You might have to use, depending on how you want it to look, you can use any metallic colors for this. I'm just using a gold, and you can paint it perfect, or you can just kind of get it in there, however you want. This is kind of a rustic chapel. Nothing's really perfect about it. But Valentine's paintings, what I wanted to tell y'all about that is I have the Allen Love, which I posted. Now, every month you get one full, like this is a full painting tutorial with supply list, with the step-by-step instructions. Now, I do have bonuses sometimes where I'll say, okay, you can have rights to this painting too. That doesn't mean that, you have access to everything I've ever done, because, I want to like space it out to where you're not overwhelmed. And, if I give you, for example, the Allen Love, it doesn't have a painting tutorial with it. With that being said, you do have rights to it. So if you want to look at that painting and use that for a Valentine's party, you can. But here's what I've learned. I've had really good success with that painting, but I don't really, and again, you can totally change my mind on this, and I'm always open to learning from y'all and from pretty much anybody that will teach me. I try to not, I would rather post this around January, February and get more signups than to post like a generic heart type painting. Valentine's isn't like a huge holiday where people decorate a bunch of stuff for it. There are cases where people will do like a husband-wife couple event, and then one paints half, one paints the other half. Again, I think keeping it really stupid simple is the best marketing way ever. You will get those few guys that'll come, but I have done that in the past and my numbers have dropped so much that I would just rather keep it as, marketed towards women or kids events. And the reason why is usually you'll have one or two guys that are happy to be there, and then the others are basically feel like they're being dragged there. And then it's just, they're paying double, so everything costs more. And again, that's just my experience that I'm sharing with you. If yours is different and is not the same, please post in the comments. If you have huge couple parties, that is fantastic and wonderful, and I hope that it's working. But as me being your mentor and helping you through and navigating this and learning from my mistakes, I'm just taking a small, a flat brush, about a half-inch flat brush, using the dark chocolate again to outline. But my job, in Paint Party headquarters is to teach you what's working and what doesn't work. And this is what has not worked for me. So what I recommend is coming out with a couple of designs for your restaurants or your churches or whatever that are more like this. And maybe you have that Allen Love as a picture that, if people want to choose that, then you'll teach that. But I wouldn't go full on Valentine's Day. And it's just not a holiday. Like Christmas, you can paint Christmas stuff all day long and it's gonna fill up. But Valentine's Day just does not have the same effect, okay? Again, please prove me wrong, but for those of you wanting to, just get straight to the profits, I recommend, marketing a winter church or marketing something that's gonna be more permanent in their house. Christmas is different because people all decorate for Christmas. They all take stuff down and put stuff back up. But if you've been, teaching paint parties for a while and you've had struggles around Valentine's Day, it might be because what you're offering. And think about your own. Like, how many of y'all actually decorate for Valentine's Day? No judgment here. I was a school teacher for 10 years, so no judgment here. But you know, it's just not one of those holidays where you're like, oh, I can't wait to get out all my Valentine's decor. Make this place Cupid friendly. You know, it's just not really that way. Okay, so as you can see, none of this is perfect. It's just real rough. I'm doing that on purpose. One reason is it's gonna be hard for a bunch of beginner painters to try to outline this stuff perfect. They're gonna go nuts. If they see yours is kind of messed up, it makes them feel like they're doing it right. I know it seems weird, but you know, as you presenting the painting and they like the painting, just them seeing that you did it and it's not all fancy makes them feel okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna put just a few little slats. Again, I'm just going to like a 1-inch brush and making sure it's really, really flat. I just put it on there and then turn it. Make sure it's really, really flat, and then I just kind of go in like this. Nothing major. Just using like half my brush. Baby wipes if you accidentally go too far. Okay, and then you could even kind of, you know, put a little bit of brown and kind of rough up inside here a little bit. That's not necessary, but if you wanted to. Okay, so we just kind of have like a snowy church. You could leave it here if you wanted. You could have people add snow text, which actually that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show y'all how to use it. It has been just as fun as adding glitter. So if you're not sure about snow text and glitter glue, at least give the options to your customers. They love it. So it's just like this. You can take the back of a brush or your hand and you just kind of take it, and then I'm just gonna put all over the snow. So again, this is not a Christmas painting, it's a winter painting. And then if I wanted to change it to more of a Christmas painting, I could add a wreath. If I want it to be a spring painting, this would be a great painting around Easter. You know, basically in the fall, Easter time, springtime with flowers. And then even in the fall, if you put a really pretty fall tree right there, it would look so good. So you could actually use this chapel year round. And you can do it on canvas, 16 by 20, or you can order the pallets from Craft Creations like I normally do, or you can make your own, which is what I did today, or you know, last week, because I was running short and I had more people sign up for the church than I was expecting last minute. Oh, and I was going to tell y'all too, just a little bit of encouragement. I have a restaurant that's selling out, and then I have a restaurant that nobody signed up for. So why do I think that is? And it's not because I'm a loser and I never should do paint parties. It's because the restaurant wasn't helping at all, and it was in a different town where I don't really have emails for them yet. So sometimes, you know, you're gonna have restaurants that totally bust. That is part of the business. So I want you to remember that, you know, just because you have like a really great restaurant happening over here and then you try to repeat that process, sometimes it doesn't work at a different location if the owners aren't helping push it, if there's not a Facebook event happening, all of those things come into play. So I just want you to remember, you know, don't get your feelings hurt. It's business. Remember, I know we're women, and I know, you know, we're creatives, so we really wear our hearts on our sleeves, but it's all about just really like the combination of marketing plus the combination of having, you know, people on your email list. I can't stress that enough. When you're at a party, you are doing a door prize to collect emails, because that's how you are able to have more parties, because then you notify those new people. Constant contact, I'm actually going to be doing constant contact to try it out to see if it would be really great for you. I know a few people in this group have done constant contact and say it is wonderful. So I'm signing up for it today to just try it out to see how it works. And I'll let y'all know if it's working really good, because some of y'all are, you know, struggling with the PayPal and things like that. And this should solve a lot of those problems. So if you also want to look back at the interview from Christy Hawkins, who does her full-time business is restaurants, and she really only has one restaurant that she does twice a week. And she has been, you know, doing that for a long time. She doesn't travel. She doesn't work on weekends. She only does like Tuesday and Wednesday nights. That's it. Like, if you want to paint with her, it's Tuesday and Wednesday nights. And I really strongly encourage y'all for 2019 to think about, like, what do I really want? Do I really want to paint on Saturday and Sundays? Do I want to paint on nights or whatever? And kind of, you know, at the beginning, of course, I was, you know, taking any job just because I'd quit my full-time teaching, which I don't recommend you just quitting your job until you know you're ready. Or maybe, again, you just want this to be a side thing. But, you know, she started doing just those, you know, Tuesday and Wednesday nights. And at the beginning, I was doing everything and anything people would hire me for. And now I'm like, this is going on. Nope, I can do it this day, you know. So I think it depends on where you're at. And if you're at that stage where you just want to take them all, or if you're at that stage where, because, you know, as you build a business, you're building the business, so you get to pick when you want to do stuff and what your schedule is. So just keep that in mind, that you can create those boundaries. Or you can be like me, crazy when I first started and just was running myself into the ground. I don't recommend that. Don't recommend that. Okay, so I'm going to keep this chapel just like this without trees. The reason why is because I want it to be able to be open, so you can use this for winter, you can use this for spring. People could even take the knife and add, and again, you could just totally demonstrate this. This is a really quick and easy painting. You could take some of the golds and do some of the golds in here as well. But this part is so much fun. And then if you wanted to have any kind of quote or whatever, people could write something here. But I think, you know, put a few plants around this, or a frame with a picture, and put it on your mantle, and really, it's all it needs. You know, it's just a simple, beautiful chapel. So I hope y'all can use this and make, again, change it up for spring, add some flowers, use it for winter, Easter project. Maybe you could put, you know, like a really cool lily, or I don't know, something like that. And then again, once, you know, fall comes, add a big tree here for the fall. Same chapel, but a tree with a bunch of fall leaves. And then Christmas, add a wreath to it. Maybe add the star right there, and then you're done. So it's a fun, easy painting, and I hope y'all can book some parties with it. All right, y'all have a great day.